Hello, and again, welcome to the group exhibit for hydrogen batteries and fuel cells at Hanover Fair 2016. My name is Michael Sinclair, and I will once again be the moderator for the next discussion. Many of you are already seated. If you're not, please come on in, have a seat, enjoy the refreshments that are served to your table. If anyone has any questions at any time during the discussion, please wave at me, raise your hand, and I will bring the microphone to you so you can pose your question. The discussion this afternoon is entitled Market Launch of the Vaillant Fuel Cell for the Single-Family House. And joining me today is Mr. Alexander Dauensteiner of Vaillant. Please join me in welcoming him to the stage.
Hi, nice to meet you again.
So this should be an interesting discussion. I look forward to learning more about the product that you're bringing to market, Alexander. Please introduce your company and the product that you're taking to market.
Yeah, I think, thanks for the opportunity to be on stage again. It's really a special year. So it's my 14th year here in Hanover now, and this year is really an extraordinary one because we fight for many, many years for a real market launch after a lot of demonstration and field trials. But to answer your question, I think Vaillant is relatively well known for most of you. I think it's one of the oldest heating companies in Europe. We have been founded in 1874, since more than 140 years now. Have the wide portfolio of heating products, starting from conventional boilers based on gas mainly, but also oil, but also the renewable portfolio like heat pumps, which is a very important market and becoming more and more important, but also all the other, let's say, renewable products, PV, battery storages, climatization, ventilation, and all the appliances and accessories which you need in your house.
Quite an extensive product portfolio.
Yeah, let's say full product portfolio as a big manufacturer. We have 12,000 employees worldwide and still growing. And I'm taking care in my responsibility about the system products, which includes all, let's say, the new technologies, new products which are now coming to the market or increased market share, like batteries, photovoltaic, and ventilation is also an important segment. And as I said, now 14 years fuel cell.
Very good. Very good. So you said this is an exciting time. You're launching your product. So tell us about this product that's now launched.
Yeah, we have a very long history on the product and have been worked a lot of time. So starting already in 1997 with the first studies. I think we are the only one manufacturer who really tested all the different micro CHP fuel cell technologies, starting with PEM, hydrogen PEM, and then SOFC. Our product is designed for the single-family house or two-family houses, so that is a typical big market in Germany, but also in other countries. It's based on SOFC, so we decided finally for this technology, as we are very convinced that this is the best one for the market requirements. The important partner of us is Sunfire, which is also a booth here in Hanover, which we are working now for many years together. Very good partnership, very solid technology. The product itself is very simple. So our product philosophy was from the very first beginning also as an outcome of the experiences of the big field trials and demonstration projects all over Europe, to make the product as much as possible simple. It would anyhow be more complicated as any normal condensing boiler today. But especially launching innovative products needs to be as robust as possible, because this is a very important customer requirement, apart from the price, that's clear. But together with our partner Sunfire and our R&D team, which has done an excellent work over the years. It was now a fight for more than 10 years to go at that stage, more than 15 even. So not only a question of time, but also on investments. And I think with this partnership of the excellent development team we have in Remscheid, in our headquarters, together with our partner Sunfire, we now reach the status where we can really launch a reliable, solid, and price-competitive product by, let's say, last quarter of this year. So we have it on the booth the first time in Hanover. It's a floor-standing system, very compact, a lot of serial components in it. So we fortunately can base a lot of the components, apart from the stack and all others, let's say 3 to 4 other special components needed for the fuel cell, more or less on serial components on the heating industry, and that makes it more reliable. It reduces the cost because, let's say, valves, sensors, even the peak heater at the top of the system, which you can see on the booth, is serial design, which we sell 100,000 of times any year. And I think that's a big advantage of a big manufacturer, as an experienced manufacturer, and I'm very looking forward now to really announce the launch of the fuel cell.
Very good. So, why, if I don't mind asking a little bit about the technology, why did you converge on SOFC over PEM technology?
First of all, I know, and I think during that long time of experience, is more than 13 years now, that there is no one technology which is really capable to meet all the customer requirements. So I have no doubt that PEM also, as high temperature PEM, can make also, let's say, the step into the market successfully. The question and the decision afterwards, after a long period of technology evaluation by the team in Remscheid, was to decide on SOFC due to the fact that we believe that especially the gas treatment process is that very simple. We have a CPOX reforming. It's that simple that compared to PEM, for example, it's absolutely uncompetable for that point of view with regards to complexity, very simple, and also costs. That was one point. Another important point for SOFC is 80%, let's say, at the lead market in Germany at the moment is renovation and modernization. Existing buildings which needs a new home, new heating, for example, in their homes. And you normally find relatively high flow temperatures in the heating circuits, which you cannot easily adapt with a low temperature PEM. So low temperature PEM is very good, I think, in new builds, which is 20% of the market, but we can cover with the high temperature SOFC approach any temperature level you can find in the market. So we are not only able to cover this 80% of the market by the fuel cell, but also the 20% of the new build, which also works very properly. And these are the main factors afterwards. As I said, I do not say, and I'm not able to do that, not willing, that PEM is not able to launch, and we have very interesting projects and products on the market based on PEM, but our final decision was due to the conviction that the SOFC is in overall a better technology approach.
So you spoke about the amount of time, effort, and research that has gone into getting you where you are today, where finally a product is for sale. From the last product iteration to this generation, what were the key drivers? What were the key issues that were solved to make this version finally the one that went commercially for sale?
So what we did all the years now, in particular due to the fact that we were able to join all the big demonstration projects in Europe. So we started with small field trials in North Rhine-Westphalia and Germany. We continued with the Calux program from the very first time with 120 systems, and then we was one of the founders, let's say, of the Enefield program, which we have in the previous discussion as well by Philippe Mollard, for example. We have a lot of key customers interviews. So Vaillant is normally doing that also in the normal development process, that we have reviews with our customers. That is on the one hand the end customer which buys the systems finally, but also customers from the heating technology installers. What was the key, let's say, for the final success now is really that we would be able to build the complete system now on a more or less serial design. So it's a very compact system. In the previous generation you mentioned, we had, I think, 5 different components in the basements. That leads to a very complex installation. The fuel cell was on the wall, the peak heater was on the wall, we had a hydraulic module afterwards, we had the controls on top of the hydraulic module. We have the storage part of that with the freshwater storage station. And this makes the system, from a point of development, very quickly to develop, because from the generation 1 to generation 5, we need only 1 year for each generation, which was very quick. But the final stage now to meet really the customer and market requirements was to make it much more easier to install, because the energy, the customer looking on the full bill afterwards. I always say they look on the final page of the bill on the offers and looks what cost me installed with the VAT included. And if the installation is that much complex, it leads also to too high costs, and that is what we should avoid. By the way, we could also minimize the footprint now. So we are, in the meantime, 2 to 3 square meters, where we had previously 7 square meters. So very compact, very easy to install, a lot of serial competence for the installer, and I think that's the key issue now to launch the product with the reliable technology.
So obviously this is fuel cell technology, which in all the discussions we talk about the opportunity there for increased efficiency. We talk about decreased carbon dioxide emissions. Mm-hmm. This product that you're talking about does still run on natural gas, which makes sense because it's in a lot of the homes in Northern Europe. But what about CO2 reduction? I mean, it is a natural gas system, what are the savings there as far as emissions?
I think this discussion comes on top nearly every day, I would say, not every day, but very often. How can we reach our international and European climate change targets to reduce carbon dioxide, for example, when we still base innovative products on fossil fuels? And the key answer here, from my point of view, is not the fact that we are working only with a part of the solution. We have to, let's say, lead finally in the heating segment as well to a fully renewable energy system. I don't know when. It will take a lot of time. The question here is, and this is what I'm discussing also within discussion in Brussels with the European Commission, the answer we have to give as an industry and policy is how to get to the 100% renewable. And even if we base these systems on still fossil natural gas, it's proven by a lot of field trials and demonstration projects as Carlox or Enefield, and not only calculated, we have proven that we can at least decrease carbon dioxide emissions with these technologies by 34–35%, up to 50 to 60%, depending on the reference system, depending on the efficiency of the system. And it's very easy for me. We start with 35%, and 35% is the fully commitment of the industry towards our energy claimings arbeit. So if I would like to ask my automotive dealer to buy a new car, and I would say I would like to have a fuel consumption which is 35% lower than the previous car, I would say it's not necessary and not possible. Here it's possible. So it's a question how to get the 100% renewable. We can significantly reduce energy costs and also the footprint with regards to CO2 emissions. And that's, I think, a very, very important point contributing to the energy climate targets of the European Union.
Okay, very good. Just a reminder to the audience, if you have any questions, put up your hand. I don't see any for now, so I'll continue. The question that I have pertains to efficiency. We see a few different products on the market, well, at least advertised around the fair, and the advertised efficiencies are usually in the 30s. I believe your device has 33% electrical efficiency.
34.
34, very sorry. How important is efficiency when fundamentally what you're installing in your home is a heater?
I think 10 years ago nobody asked for electricity production heating system. And I think, and even not 15 or something like that. But given the fact that electricity becomes more and more awareness, also, for example, in the German Energiewende, the customers are really willing to decrease the dependency on the utilities or municipalities in their city where they buy the electricity. This is one point. The second thing is it's the most valuable product. Yeah? If you can really produce in your basement your electricity by an own system, this is you can do everything with that nearly, and that's a value which is let's say the key for the success for this product, because the thermal efficiency is more or less the same as we can reach with a condensing boiler, but on top comes the efficiency of the electricity, and that's the value for the customer, which really saves energy costs. And so the answer is yes, it's important, but, and this was also during all the years of Vaillant history developing this product, our philosophy, it's always a trade-off with complexity. So I can increase easily with fuel cells electrical efficiency up to 50–60%, but with the tremendous efforts in the in the components investment. So there's an additional investment necessary, and there's in particular maintenance efforts necessary. And if you're looking on a total cost of ownership over 10 or 15 years, it's sometimes much clever to use simple technology as we do for CPOX reforming, for example, and to say, okay, 34% is absolutely competitive in the industry. You can save 700 to 1,000 euro a year of energy costs with that efficiency. That's possible, and that's attractive. Whereas we can increase the efforts to make the next step in the efficiency increasing, but also then switching to a complete new reforming process, which is much more complex, much more investive, and which much more needs in maintenance costs and increase the maintenance costs. And this is something which we do not look on. That's on the very first stage.
Yeah, very good. So from a technology standpoint, where will the next effort be spent? Will it be on increasing efficiency, or is it further cost reduction? Is it on manufacturing simplicity? Where are the next research dollars going to go in this technology?
As Philip also in the previous discussion on the podium said very clearly and definitely right, is the next efforts is spent in commercialization of the system. So we now have to show that there's really a market, that the customer is willing to buy the product. So we will increase now with the launch the volumes, which has something to do also then with decreasing the cost. This is the second point. So cost is the major driver for the success for the market. All other customer expectations we can fully fulfill, there's no doubt. But the cost is critical and are critical, and therefore we need an increase, a ramp up now in the volumes in order to get scale effects, to get the costs down. And the intelligent way now is to spend at the right time exactly that amount in investments in the industrialization process as the market requires. If you invest too early and you have no market, you have a problem. If you invest too late and you lose market share, then you have also a problem on a long-term perspective. So this is what we are doing at the moment. So we have a production facility in Remscheid, which is easily capable to increase the volumes if necessary, but it's also depending on the market. My expectation is as soon as the incentive schemes, especially in Germany, will now start, we will see a tremendous change in the awareness of this technology in the heating segment, especially in the modernization market. But as I said, you need the right timing, the right investment, and we are prepared to that, I have no doubt. And by the end, I think costs and market launch now, increase commercialization, this is now the challenge.
Okay, well, that is all the questions that I have. If there's nothing from the audience, I want to thank you very much, Alexander, for joining me up on stage, and let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you. Great. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Also, I'll just mention, I neglected to mention that Vaillant and Alexander can be reached at booth E51 if you have any further questions. So please don't hesitate to go over there and have a look at the product that he has on display. It's in an all-clear case. You can see the internals. It looks pretty great. Next up, we have a talk entitled Power-Based Fuels in the Transport Sector, Fuel Cell Electric Mobility on Rails. And this is with Thorsten Herbert from Vaillant GmbH and Dr. Rainer Scholz of Ernst & Young. Thank you very much.